So I am super excited to make this video. This has been a very long time coming. Probably day one since I found out about Trinov and, not long after I started my home theater journey. But I'm excited to tell you that I actually have a Trinnov Altitude 16 processor and a Trinnov Amplitude 16 amplifier in my possession for review. It's in my rack, just got it installed. So I wanted to kind of maybe start like a little series on the Trinov because this is my first experience with it. Some of you guys watching, you have a Trinov, you already know what this is about. And then there's a lot of you, probably most of you, not probably, most of you don't have a Trinov and maybe have never even experienced what a Trinov sounds like, what it does, what it's capable of. So I just kind of wanted to bring you on my journey a little bit. This is going to be part one. I'm not sure what the other parts are going to be. I'm going to have to figure that out. But basically what in this video, what I wanted to do is I just wanted to show you the user interface and, some of the features. It's not going to be a deep dive because this is my first foray into it. I will be talking with Trinnov throughout the review process, and they're going to be kind of refining, fine-tuning some things that maybe I don't know how to do or that I can't do on myself as I'm not, a calibrator. But, I basically wanted to set this up as much as I can first by myself, get familiar with it, and then share that journey with you. So the first thing that you do when you plug up the Trinnov Altitude, you want to make sure that you are connected to the network. So mine is connected via Ethernet. I don't even know if that thing has Wi-Fi. I'm not sure. But it's plugged up to the Ethernet. And for me, it's a little bit simpler because I'm using, Google's routers. So I'm using a mesh network. And as soon as anything pops up on my network, whether it's Wi-Fi or hardwired, I get an alert saying, hey, this device is now added to your network. And then I can decide, oh yeah, that's mine. So it was pretty easy for me because once it popped up, I already knew what the IP address was. So all I had to do was type in the IP address, which mine is 192.168.86.76. Once you do that, you will be taken to, so it takes you to the website, but it also takes you to a separate one. I forget what it's called. Let me see if I can get it to come up. Probably not now. But there's another, I guess, a more elaborate, it's basically the same website, but there's like another extension on the end of that IP address that initially popped up, and you'll have to delete that because that other more elaborate one, it's like, it must be like 480p resolution. Just delete those. I'll see if I can get it to come up later, and then you'll get like the high resolution. So this is what it looks like when you log into it. So over here to the left, we've got menu, we've got a little cogwheel. So if I click on that, it opens up another web page. We'll go back to the software. So I've got looks like that's the layout. So I can select speaker layouts, I can add speakers, I can delete speakers, I can see small view and all that stuff. And then you have your fine tuning, so you can do quick setup. You've got bass management, waveforming settings, waveforming graphs. You can set filters. You can set filters to whatever speakers you want. And then over here, you have your speaker room optimizer. And then over here, you have your menu. Onto the side, you have your controls. If you want to control this, I'm using a Harmony Elite, so I already have it configured. But if you're somebody that wants to use, your iPad or your iPhone while you sit here, you can control the volume. I can do that. I can mute it. And then, not sure what that is. So that says, oh, that's a dimmer. So turn that off. And then down here, you've got some other stuff. Again, this is my first foray into it, so I'm not going to cover everything because some of this I don't know what it is, and I don't really want to mess with certain things while I'm filming it, just so that I know what I'm doing and I don't do something and then like, oh, I don't know what I did. So I'm going to try to keep it kind of basic. So if we go back to oops, if we go back to, so here it is. So this is what I was talking about, the VNC. So if I click on that, you'll see it has the IP address, but then it says vnc.html. From what I understand, this is like a more advanced section of the website that I don't really want to mess with. And you can see it looks a little bit more pixelated. This looks like it's maybe like 40p, 720p. So we're not going to click on that. We're going to back out of that and we're going to go to the regular standard software. So how I did that was I clicked on the, or which one was it? It was the settings. Okay. We're doing this together here. Okay. So if I go back to this little, I guess, check mark says play, here I've got the controls. So you've got the master level here. I can control that, plus or minus. You've got the mute button, and then you've got the dim there. And then below that, it shows me my in sources. So right now I'm connected to HDMI 8. The output is PCM, and the upmix is Dolby Surround. Right now I don't have anything playing. I don't even have my projector on. I just wanted to turn it on and show this to you. And then output is showing the resolution 3820 by 2160 at 60 frames per second. Color is 8-bit. So one of the things that I wanted to mention is that the Trinov that they sent me has the new HDMI 2.1 boards. So that was one of the things that they emphasized. Hey, we wanted to send you one that has the new HDMI 2.1 boards. So I know that there's like an upgrade process that you can do. Excuse me. I think you have to pay. I'm pretty sure you probably have to pay for that. I don't know. But if you're somebody that has, HDMI 2.0 board and you want to upgrade, you can upgrade. And then down here, I can select the Trinnov optimizer. So you'll notice that when I turn that off, some of those options go away. If I turn it back on, you'll see that they get selected. So we're going to keep that on. And then if I hit info, it's going to tell me the version, the build date. If I hit startup, I can select the default presets, max volume, dim level, front panel light, all that stuff. Updates, I can check for updates there. About, and it'll give me a little bit of info. So one of the things that I want to show you is the speaker layout. So this is really cool. And I've spent a little time with this, customizing my speaker locations. So when you plug up your speakers to the amplifier, your speaker wire, it's numbered. So you have your, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then it goes 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So to make it easier on myself, what I did was I corresponded the amplifier inputs or outputs, whichever one it is, to my speaker locations. So what I did was I went from left to right, front to back. So the speaker input on the amplifier, number 1 is going to be my left front center. Number 2 is going to be my center channel. Number 3 is going to be my right speaker. And then number 4 is going to be my left surround. 5 is going to be my right surround. 6 is going to be the back left surround. So you get the picture. And then once I finished with the floor speakers, I started with the height speakers. So number 8 would be the left front height. Number 9 would be the right front height. And then I did center. And then I did the back heights. And I'm excited because I actually get to use the 6 height channels now, all of them. But I did that because when you connect the speaker cables from the amplifier to the processor, technically you only have 2 cables. You have a cable that connects, and I forget the type of cable, the connection it is. I think it's a RS-232, but I'll correct that in the video if that's not correct. And then from there, it spools out into 8 XLR inputs. So the 2 cables are both like that. And they're all labeled. So you have 1 through 8, and then you have 9 through 16. So that made it very easy for me to know, okay, channel 1 is going to be speaker left. Channel 2 is going to be center speaker. But normally when you have a processor or a receiver from another brand, it's not like that. In fact, they're usually labeled. Now again, the numbers are labeled on the amplifier, but not necessarily internally on the processor. And I'll explain that here in a minute. But usually when you have a processor or a receiver from some other brand, you're tied to that specific input. So if the processor on the back, it says this input here, this XLR or this unbalanced connection is your left speaker, that's it. You can't assign it to another speaker. Within Trinnov software, when you get into the software, there's no specific speaker locations, because you can assign whatever input or whatever speaker you want. And I'll show that here to you in a bit. So if I go here, so this just basically shows you, so you can see this box here, and if I select this drop down, I have all these options of speaker layouts that I want to do depending on your setup. So you can see it starts off from stereo 2.0, and then it goes all the way up to 7.1, and then you have Atmos from 5.1.2 all the way up to 9.1.4. You've got RO 3D. If you have a RO 3D setup, you can select those. You've got DTS:X, and then you've got Trinov and Trinov 9.1.6, Trinov 11.1.8. So mine is a Atmos 7.1, and obviously there's no 0.2 or 0.3 here, because technically there's only one LFE channel, even if you have 4, 5, 6, 7 subs. So my speaker layout is a 7.1.6, but the base layouts that you can choose from that I need is a 7.1.4, and then I can go in and add those 2 additional channels. Now I'm trying to remember if mine actually saved. So I'm not sure if it did, because I did this already. I may have to do it again, but basically what I would do is I would select Atmos 7.1.4, and then you'll notice there in the middle, all the speakers show up. Now if I hit small view, then you'll see I have all of my speaker locations, or all of my speakers here, and I can see that. If we go back to large view, it puts emphasis on the little viewer, and if I go back to small view, it shows me my speakers. So you'll notice here at the top you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and if I hit the arrow, there's more speakers, 10 all the way to however many speakers you have. So now you'll see you have a ton of options. So you have 1 through, whatever it is, I think 12 plus, let's see, right top left. I'm trying to see if it saved my configuration. If it didn't, I'll just do it here on screen, which will be good. So you'll notice here you have the name. So you have left, so that's my left speaker, right, center, you get the picture. But then as we go left to right, you have Atmos, Dolby, RO 3D, DTS:X, DTS. Now what's cool about this is, let's say I have my Atmos set up here, I can select, okay, the left, that's my left speaker. Dolby, yeah. But if I have a RO 3D set up and maybe I want that speaker to act differently or to be assigned completely different in RO 3D setup, I can go in here for RO 3D and I can select whatever speaker I want it to perform as. Oops, it's not good. So we're going to go back and change that to L. So I have all these speakers that, that I can assign it to, and that I can tell it. I want, instead of it being a left speaker, I want it to act as whatever other speaker in RO 3D. And then I can do the same thing for DTS:X. I can assign that speaker to be completely different when the signal is DTS:X versus, an Atmos signal. And then for DTS:X, I can do the same thing. So that's why I said when you actually get into the Trinnov software, even though it's labeled 1 through 16 on the processor, on the amplifier, when you get into the software, you're not tied to that at all. So let's say you want to build the biggest and baddest, home theater setup, and you want to build your room for Dolby Atmos, DTS:X, and RO 3D. Well, you can actually do that. Whereas in some amplifier or some receivers or processors, you may be able to only have one at one time. You may have to go in and switch something. Not with Trinov. You can set it, and then whenever it receives a signal for RO3D, you can have whatever configuration that you want. So then over to the right, you have where you can actually tell it. So my left speaker, maybe it's connected to number 4 on the processor, and I need to change that. So you can do that here, and then you can play pink noise. So if I go here and I hit that, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but I can hear the pink noise coming from the left speaker. So that's right. If I go to the right channel, pink noise, that should be right. Center, that's right, okay. So I'm probably going to go through this here off screen. Actually, you know what, let me turn it up so you guys can hear it. Okay, so now if I do the left surround, it's coming from that speaker, which is my left surround, which is correct. If I do the right surround, that's correct. Left rear surround, correct. Right back surround, correct. Now if I go to the heights, left front height, that's correct. Right front height, that's correct. Left top rear, so that's wrong. So it didn't save my settings, and that's my fault. I didn't save it. So right now the left top rear is coming out of my center, my 2 heights in the center. That's not correct. So then what I can do is I can leave that pink noise on, and then I can start playing around with the speaker number. So 11, that's not right. That's coming over there from there. 12 is coming back from there. 13, that's not right. That's my sub. 16, 17. So basically what I need to do is, so from 1 through 9, those are correct. Now the reason, now I wanted to do this on screen, the reason why is because I don't have the top or the middle heights configured in here. I need to add it. So in order to do that, what I need to do is I need to go to add speaker, and then select layout, and then we're going to do stereo, we're going to do Atmos, okay? And then you'll notice that this here changes the viewer. So then I can select the speaker. So then I want to add, let's see here. So I want to add left top middle. Okay. And then we're going to hit add. And it asks me, add associated speaker to use left top middle in Atmos configuration. The following speaker is mandatory. Right top middle, do you want to add the associated speaker? So that's really cool. It knows, hey, you only added one, but you need to add both. So I'm going to go ahead and select yes. So I hit yes, and now you see the Atmos viewer change to 3 top speakers, or 6 height speakers. Okay? So now if we go back to small view, now we should see that here. So left top middle. So let's go back here. So left top rear. So left front height, that's good. Right top front is good. Left top rear, that needs to be, so we'll start at 11. So now I can hear that coming out of the left, the back left. That's correct. So that's on number 12. So then if I do right top rear, that might be 13. Yep. So now I hear it coming out of the top, or the top back. Now we need to do the top middle. So left top middle is here. That's the sub. So if we go 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So we're missing 10 and an 11. So probably, so okay, so that one's 10. I can hear that. That's coming out of this correct one. And then right top middle, 11. So now we're good. So we'll go through that one more time. So left, right, center, left surround, right surround, left rear, right rear, left top front, right top front, left top rear, right top rear, and then left top middle, right top middle. Okay, and then I have my subs. So sub 1, that's my 21-inch sub in the back. And then if I go to, oops, let's go back here. So sub 1, and then I need to add another sub because I have the sub up front. So then basically what I do is I add another speaker and then add sub. Okay, so now I should have a 15th speaker here. So now I can configure that. So we'll hit the white noise, and the white noise is coming out of the second sub. So I actually have 3 subs. I need to set those other 2 up. I have a 21-inch sub in the back. Right next to that I have a 15-inch sub. And then I have another 15-inch sub behind the screen, all Mac Theatron. So this, it takes a little bit to get used to. It actually probably took me about, I want to say 30-45 minutes to figure out how to actually configure this, because when I first set it up, I was only getting audio out of 2 speakers. And then I realized, oh, I need to go back there and make sure all the corresponding numbers from the XLR cables are right, corresponding to the processor. And then once I got that right, I had to come into the software and start playing around with it. And I'm glad that I did it by myself at first, because I was able to figure it out. It might take you longer, it might take you less. But the more I mess with this, the more I love it, because you have pretty much an unlimited configuration. So, like I said, now that I have all my speakers configured for Dolby Atmos, when I go to RO 3D, since I don't have a voice of God, what I can probably do is, if I go to the right top, let me see here. So if I go to the left top middle, for RO 3D, what I can do here, and you'll see that it's showing none under the RO 3D. But if I go there, I can say, I can choose either one of these speakers to act. I'll have to play around with this off screen, but maybe I can get these 2 middle speakers to kind of act like a voice of God. I don't know. I have to go in there and configure it. But very cool. So now if I go back to large view, you'll see it focuses on the viewer. And then if I hit the plus sign, I can make it bigger. And not sure why that one's showing up as yellow. What did I do here? Okay, so we're good. So you can see I have my 3 top heights on the left. I have my 3 top heights on the right. I have my left, center, right up front. And then if I make this bigger, oops. And then if I click up here for control, you can make the viewer bigger or smaller. And then on dimension, you can put in your room dimensions here. And then for monitoring, you can do that. So that is basically what I wanted to show you. There's some other stuff in here that I haven't messed with yet, but this was really cool. I did this the other day, and I really wanted to show you on screen what you can do with the Trinov once you get in here. You can customize it. You're not tied to a specific speaker location according to what your processor or your receiver says. And I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. So if you guys are watching this and maybe you're wondering, why does Trinov cost so much? Obviously, I'm not going to say this reason alone is why it costs so much and you should buy it. I'm not telling you need to buy it. I'm not telling you should buy it. I'm just telling you that if you're somebody that is looking at Trinov and maybe you've been on the fence, maybe you're like, man, that's a lot of coin to drop. Is it really worth it? I think it is going to be worth it if you have the change. It's a lot of money. I get that. And I'm not saying that it's not a lot of money. It's obviously a lot of money to drop on something. But the fact that this is pretty much unlike anything else that I've ever had. I've had many receivers. I've had 3 Onkyo receivers. I've had a Pioneer Elite. I've had a Anthem MRX receiver, and my current daily driver is the Emotiva RMC1. This far exceeds all of those put together. So I'm only scratching the surface right now. I need to do a couple other things, and then I have the microphone, the 3D microphone that I'm going to run calibration on my system. And then from there, I can pretty much start doing some demos, start testing it, and watching some content. And then from there, I will probably get with the Trinnov guys, and they're gonna work with me to fine tune some things and show me some of the stuff that I can do that I don't know how to do on my own, and that I wouldn't have the time to do on my own. So this is pretty cool. I'm super excited. I know you guys are excited too to see the content. You guys have been super supportive in the comments, and I appreciate it. So I think I'm going to conclude this video here. Again, this is going to be part 1. Part 2, I'm not sure what that's going to be. Maybe, setup, running calibration, talking about the microphone, maybe my experience with the setup process, and, what I've been able to accomplish myself. So yeah, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned to the channel so you don't miss any more Trinnov updates, content, as well as all the other regular content that I do here on the channel. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.